Hello, in this video I will walk you through the how I implemented and separate the logic of production and development environment in my to-do application. So the issue was and problem is that when I deploy the application live on the server, so it will giving me error that your DB URL is undefined because I have hard coded my DB URL and that DB is running on my local machine. So to use the server, I have to put my database or DB also on the cloud. So for that, I figure out that was the problem. So how did I solve this problem? So for that, I created three different env files, three different env files. So one file is .env, that is fallback file that have both variable for the development and for the production. So and one file is env.development that have that environment file having variable only required for the local setup. So this is file file have the variables environment variables for of, of the local machine like that our first is the environment type, that is development or mode we can say, and second is db dburi dev, so local dburl and port, and debug true. For debug is additional for the print the log message we using Morgan here. So this is, and in production env production file also the variable same, but this dbur database is running on local machine, and this in the env.production db is running on the cloud or server. So this is for that I created a new folder in inside my app directory, and where I create three files. So this file is one for the development variables, and this is the second file for the production environment variable, and I am importing that both files is a central file. That file name is like config slash index.js. Inside that file, I am I will be getting the environment type. So environment, what is environment? It is like when we run the command or script like npm run start or dev. So it's we up added the a path environment variable here, the default ones inside that. like development and production. So that are coming from there, and I'm storing that into a new variable const, and inside that I am adding the environment file and this environment type or environment mode together, so it will load that env.production file or env.development file according to the command. And after that, getting the environment or file is loaded. So after loading the file, I will import the these production or development variable from their respective files using dynamic imports. So why do we need dynamic imports here? Because if we are not use dynamic imports here, so our env loads synchronously and these files also load synchronously. So to handle that error, we have to load or import these production file or development file after the our .env loaded. So that's why I use dynamic imports here. After that, I store the product dot environment variable from the files I'm getting production.js or development.js into a new variable product config or dev config. After that, I am assigning that value or object to config. If the environment is production, so it will store here, and if the environment is development, store here. So after getting, I will export the config from here, and our config object look like this. So this is my sample config object, and it will contain all the data we required for the application to run on both production and the local setup. So now I will show you the code of it for better understanding. So yeah, I now you see that. So let me close this one. Okay. So here I created a new folder inside my app directory, and inside that folder I created three files with their respective environment. So for the local, we are using local environment variables, and for production or server, we using prod or cloud based DB URL, and port is automatically assigned, and we are debugging make the debugging fast. So for production, we don't need to print logs, and after that I am importing that here. So file env file according to the environment, and after that I am assigning the value to the config variable, and these are dynamic imports that I already explained. And what next? So when I run the command, so if I run npm run start, so it will show me the app running. Okay, so there is some app running on the production, and okay, Wi-Fi connect. connecting issue. Connect to Wi-Fi. Okay. So for that, if I run command npm run dev, so it will started the local environment setup and app running in the local environment. And if my Wi-Fi is connected now, let's test the production environment also. npm run start. So yeah, yes. Now my application is running on the both setup for local setup and the production setup. So this config object contain the necessary object and I exported it from here and using it in my mongoose.connect, and here I will add the bb URL. So this is my explanation of the how I implemented separate environment for my application like local setup and the production setup. So thank you.